Welcome, guys. My name's Kevin with EOS Go, and thank you, EOS Nairobi, for joining us.
Thank you.
And I'm Jenny, Topkpop. I'm filling in for Bluejays today. Nice to meet you guys.
Yeah, and we are pre-recording this interview with EOS Nairobi because they are a number of hours ahead of us. So what time is it for you guys right now?
It's 9 p.m.
9 p.m.
Yeah.
So that means you're 7 hours ahead of us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you guys can see why we aren't shooting this show live. Otherwise, they'd be up until 1 or 2 in the morning trying to talk to us. So thank you guys very much for making the time to work with us here. And yeah, we're very excited to meet you. So can we learn more about EOS Nairobi and hear about your names and individual goals and aspirations?
Okay.
So I'm Felix. I'm a tech entrepreneur. I'm a co-founder of a company that deals with web and mobile apps. A little background about how I got into blockchain technology. I started hearing about blockchain technology back in 2016, read around the whole place, and then got a book by Melanie Swan, Blockchain Blueprint for the New Economy. And I was so inspired by the book, I actually wrote her an email and I told her I liked the work they're doing at the Institute of Blockchain Studies in New York. And I told her I would want to, work with her, and she was so gracious. She gave me a job as an affiliate researcher. So as I was doing the research work for the Institute for Blockchain Studies, I learned a lot about the blockchain space. That's how I came across EOS. And I think what inspired me about EOS was Dan Larimer's vision of wanting to secure life, liberty, and property. And from then on, I went for EOS Meetup 1.0 in Nairobi. Ian Grigg was there. I met George. I think he had just come from Ireland at that time. I met Peter. And we started the community, EOS enthusiasts and everyone in Nairobi. So, yeah, from then on, it's been an amazing ride, these guys.
Yeah. Great. So I think I go next. My name is Daniel Kimotho. I serve as the community lead here at EOS Nairobi. How I got into this whole blockchain space was quite interesting. I do work with Felix, or rather I did work with Felix in the web and mobile apps company. And so we used to spend a lot of time together. We used to read a lot of books together, and we used to watch a lot of Bloomberg TV together. So I got to get the news from mainstream media on blockchain, but at the time it hadn't sunk in and it hadn't hit how big of a revolution we were in. So when he shared the book by Melanie Swan with me, I really started getting into it. And fortunately enough, we managed to also get in the Institute for Blockchain Studies, and we started our research there. So I was really keen and interested in use cases for blockchain here in Africa. And I started pursuing that and started trying to see which protocols would work best with the different use cases we have here, and what type of dApps we would build here, and what type of solutions we would bring here. So while I was doing all that, I came across EOS. And it was a very fortunate thing that Ian Grigg was here in Nairobi. So he got us into EOS. He got us understanding what EOS is all about, the governance structure, the architecture, and most importantly, he told us about being a block producer. And I think the thing that really inspired me about EOS is that Ian Grigg believed that here in Nairobi we could actually make a serious block producer candidate. At the time, I didn't believe, but when I was speaking to him, each time we met, he had some really serious confidence in us. And I think that pushed us off the ledge, and it just got us to be in this thing. And we've been investing a lot of time and resources in actually ensuring that we represent this part of the world as a block producer supporting EOS network and the whole ecosystem.
Okay, great. My name is Jorge Masami. My background is electrical engineering. Moved into the blockchain space about 3 years ago when I started looking for solutions of settling payments within the energy system ecosystem. So things about peer-to-peer energy transactions. Now that a lot of generation is moving from a centralized system, we're moving into decentralized distributed generation, where you have the consumers are also producers of electricity. So when I came into that problem, there was an opportunity for, well, at the same time, where energy was moving into a distributed model, we also had the blockchain space coming into distributed ledgers. So the correlation between the two got me really interested in how Bitcoin works and building smart contracts for allowing peer-to-peer settlements. And then now is where EOS comes in, which allows for the integration of all that to a level which is more usable. So I'm really excited to work with the team here. We've had a lot of support from the local developers in Nairobi. Everyone is so interested in the blockchain space, and especially with EOS, because I think this will take us to the next level of actually being able to use apps on the ecosystem, which will bring blockchain to where people can actually interact with it. It won't be an abstract thing; it will be something tangible.
Okay. So my name is Peter Okwara. I'm a student at University of Nairobi. I study electrical engineering. So in EOS Nairobi, so I sort of train people on EOS, that is setting up nodes, doing the C++ tutorials, and also writing the smart contracts and decentralized applications. So how I got into EOS was that a friend of mine, a mentor, John Sam, who runs GitHub Africa, told me to get into the blockchain space, and I wanted to know how to write smart contracts. I tried out Rootstock and Ethereum, but they really weren't that in for me. I think it's when we started talking about EOS is when I started getting involved, especially the YouTubers like the Dollar Vigilante, Jeff Barwick, and also Ivan on Tech. I think it's when Ivan did one video on how to set up Dom2 that's when I really got into EOS and started practicing, trying it out. So I've been doing that since December. And then towards February is when there was a meetup at Moringa. It was about Chama Pesa. So a local friend of mine called Michael Kimani, who's also part of Chama Pesa, invited me to do a talk. And that's when I met Ian Grieg and Eva actually. And we talked a lot about EOS, and he asked me about being a block producer, and yeah, he really encouraged me to become one with a Mac Mini. Nobody says that. Yeah. So, and then also at the time I thought, why don't you have a meetup at EOS Nairobi? So I think at that time I had exams, so I couldn't really run a meetup. So my friend from GitHub Africa, John Sam, I told him the idea. Then Greg was like, yeah, we could do it. Just name the place. So long as on Saturday you can just do it. And that's when I had a first EOS meetup where Ian Greg was talking about EOS. And then from there, also during the meetings, I also met the other teammates, Daniel and the others. So yeah, that's how I got into EOS. My real reason why I think EOS the thing is because they normally say that Africa is blessed with problems. And I think some of these blockchain solutions can actually solve our problems. Yeah.
Wow. That was inspiring. I also was wondering if Ian brought up the Mac Mini during his time with you guys. Sounds like he did.
Yes, he did.
Of course he did, yes. Well, and a lot of folks know that Ian has this running joke about wanting to run a block producer candidate with Mac Minis. Of course, so you guys are far more serious than that. You guys put out a great introduction post, and you have a nice website. Can you dive in a little more about your technical specifications?
Okay, I think we can let Peter do that for us. He's the one who's in charge of our blog producer and our servers down there at the data center where we host them. And he talks a lot with guys from EOS Nation. I think Dennis is really helpful to us, helping us set up our nodes and join the testnet and do all those things that we need so that we can become real participants in the network. But I'll let Peter talk about the technical specs that we have right now.
Yeah. So we actually have two servers at the moment. We have a local server from a local ISP. It's running 16 GB RAM, 512 GB SSD, and yeah, and we also have a backup one, which is now international. It's a bit low, but we are planning to upgrade it because, you know, installing EOS requires a lot of RAM, at least above 4 GB RAM, and that one has like 1, so it's really, yeah, can't get to it, yeah.
Nice. And I know I'm very curious about when it comes to, so, and a lot of folks in Kenya, they don't fully understand how meaningful blockchain can be for Kenya and for Nairobi. Can you guys also talk a little bit about that as well?
Okay, so I think Kenya is starting to come up as the blockchain capital for Africa. We got a lot of inspiration from our president because around the time when we were getting serious about being a block producer, he announced that he would support blockchain ventures in the country. And with that, he started a blockchain and AI task force that will just look into the matters of what do these developers and people working in this system, in this ecosystem need so that they can be able to participate with the rest of the globe. I think if I can quote him, but not word for word, he said that we have been left out of the other industrial revolutions ever since they started, and we were not going to be left out of this fourth industrial revolution that is being spearheaded by blockchain technology. And I think for that reason, the government is really behind us and really supportive. We've even gotten an opportunity to present some of our teams in front of this blockchain and AI task force that presented the dApps that they were building and some of the things that we would need as support from the government. So on our side, as a country, from the level of government, there's a pretty big understanding and they understand the importance of us participating in the global ecosystem when it comes to blockchain technology. Now, when it comes to other players in the ecosystem, in the country, there's an article that was posted a while back by one of these reputable news agencies. And it says that Kenya is one of the countries with a very huge percentage of its GDP locked in blockchain. I think that shows that there's a lot of people who, it was about 4% of our country's GDP is in blockchain, blockchain tech currency. So there's a lot of people here who get cryptocurrency and get blockchain technology. And what they're waiting for now is applications that they can actually interact with and use to transact. A big benefit that we have here is an application called M-Pesa. So M-Pesa is run by a very big telco here called Safaricom. And it has been the gateway for us to join the whole blockchain space. Because how M-Pesa works is just how cryptocurrency works. You get a message from your phone that has your balance. And you're comfortable with the amounts being on your phone, despite you having left your fiat currency in a dingy kiosk. You don't mind the money being left at the dingy kiosk. You're comfortable walking away with a message. And that has been the case for the past 10 years. And M-Pesa has really grown in the country. They have, I think, monthly active users that total more than 20 million monthly active monthly users. That's about half of the country. So a lot of people understand the technology. It's something they've been practicing and interacting with for 10 years. So when we start putting out dApps, it'll be taken up real fast because guys have experience already. And that's for the general population. They're just waiting for stuff they can consume.
So we are really big on education, organizing meetups just to inform people on the importance of blockchain technology and its potential applications in the real world.
Wow, that's awesome. So you were saying that you're really into that type of stuff. What are you guys doing right now? Like, yeah, as VPs, what are you guys doing to educate, inform, anything that you're working on?
Okay, I think you wanna go?
Okay, so we have divided the community into teams. So there are teams that work on education, there are teams that work in research, there are teams that work on dApps, and there are teams that work to run the block producer. And we even have an art team as of 2 weeks ago that works on crypto art and so on.
And interesting stuff like this came from that art team. I also have one that I wear every day here with me. So this is something that the art team came up with. I think they also have earrings that look like this for the ladies. So yeah, the teams are really doing something. So
yeah,
I'll let him continue.
Yeah. So for the DApp teams, these are basically developers who might be interested in applying blockchain technology in some sector of the economy or something. So we have, for example, like a team that's working on health wealth coin. They're trying to incentivize people to live healthy. So we have a problem of call it pre-hypertensives in Kenya. So we have about 50% pre-hypertensive. There's a possibility that 50% of the Kenyan population might be pre-hypertensive, and that is a really serious health statistic. So they are trying to incentivize people to live better, and they're using tokens to do that. We also have a research team, and the research team just looks at, what could this technology enable us to do. So part of what we are trying to do now is we are trying to incentivize learning in nomadic communities, and that is a research that we're doing with a local university. They've given us a grant for that because formal education in those settings is not, very important. The environment is quite harsh, so we are trying to incentivize learning in that particular, setting. For the others, the art team, they're doing very interesting things around that, and then for the Block Pro team, it's just to enable us to be able to run the node and support the network. Yeah. Unless you guys have anything to add.
Well, I think on the art side, the art team has been very, very nice. We've gotten a few propositions from other BPs who've even donated designs to us, and we're doing the same for them. We love one of the things that I've had when I have grown up is that we've always been taught to separate the sciences from the arts, but I love how our art team has integrated the IT and the science with art, and I think it's going to be really interesting things to see in the next few days what they come up with.
And we'll be releasing a set of articles just to talk about the dApps that are coming out of the community. So apart from health and wealth coin, we're also trying to work on a sensors application. We're also trying to work on an application that has to do with health systems and so on and so forth. So there'll be a lot coming out in the next few weeks.
Awesome. Oh, and I also do remember hearing something. You guys were doing some education as well. Am I right on that? Yeah, could you guys tell us a little bit more about that?
Okay, so our education program has been, I think, the core thing that has been putting our community together. So when we were setting up the community, we wanted a place where people fit in, people belong, people do work they love, and people who know what every other person is doing and what every other person loves. And once we got that together, we did a little bit of stats on the people we were bringing into the community. So we have about more than, I think we're getting to about 100 people who work within our community. I think it's almost people who participate in different things and in the things they love. We have that freedom of working on what we love here in the community. And we found out that we had about 30% of the people who had joined our community as developers. And that was at the start. I think right about now, we should be at about close to 40% of the people are developers. And what these guys really wanted was to learn how to build on the blockchain. Developers here are not really interested in the speculation of the currencies going up and down, and they really want to build something, something that can be of value, something that can change lives and bring meaningful impact. So we set up a program. Peter here did a really nice breakdown of EOS and how it works. And from that, we were able to do a curriculum that we use to teach the developers who are coming on board. So we broke it down into 6 major sections. So the first bit is an introduction into EOS, how to set up the EOS system itself, environment, how to set up the EOS environment. Then the second set of classes is on C++. So we like to start it from the ground up. So guys get to learn the smallest things, variables, and how to write code, what is all the little bits and pieces of C++. And they move that up into the advanced levels. And after they have learned that, then now we go into smart contracts. And now this is where it gets interesting, because we have broken down the classes that we run into cohorts. And each cohort is supposed to build something that eventually comes out as a DApp or as a project, something that can be used out there in the real world. And one of the initial projects that we're doing is the Health Wealth Coin. We'll also be doing a census application by a team that is called Deliberate within the EOS developer community. We'll also be doing a health system that will be moving out, and all these cohorts of developers that now get into doing smart contracts, and after smart contracts, they learn how to interact with the general EOS architecture and everything that is within and around EOS. Then they get to learn how to build it up with beautiful front ends. Then they get to learn how to connect that to mobile, because here in Nairobi we have, or rather Kenya has, it stands at #1, by the way, in mobile data penetration in the world. So mobile is key for some of these apps to be used by people here. I think, that's our plan on education. We are working very closely with a couple of people from EOS Go. There's Katie from EOS Go, who's really keen on education, and she's really supporting. Jeff Daub is also really big on education, and he's really supporting. And also Thomas Cox, he's very big on what we're doing, and he's ready to support in any way that we need support.
It's awesome. Yeah, it's very inspiring. And and paint the picture for us too, like in Nairobi and Kenya and also around the world, what do you guys see blockchain accomplishing and changing, especially when it comes to mobile payments and the economy and everything? What do you guys see?
Okay, so I think I'll start, then I'll leave it to the guys. Coming back to the example that I started with of M-Pesa being a really big application here. M-Pesa in its 10 years has moved 2% of the Kenyan population out of poverty. And it's just a mobile wallet that enables people to transfer money, to move money between one person to another. It allows businesses to receive payments swiftly. And that has really transformed this place. 2% of the population, we are getting close to about 50 million people. That's a whole lot of people who never see poverty ever in their lives. And we believe blockchain is bigger. Blockchain will do far much more than that, because it will enable payments. These are global payments. It will enable people here to do global business. Today, I was talking to a team that wanted to join our community and for us to work with them directly. Their plan is to change how coffee is sold from here in Kenya. Kenya has one of the best coffees in the world. I think when you walk into a Starbucks, you'll see somewhere on that blackboard they've written Kenyan coffee, and it's top dollar. From the little visits I've done out there, I've seen that name, Kenyan coffee, and it really sells well. But the thing is, farmers here don't get commensurate remuneration for the hard work they put in. And this team wants to change that. They want to help guys who love coffee to get the best coffee, and the guys who do the hard work of making that coffee the best to get compensation the way they should. So some of these ideas are coming straight from the population. Guys are really reaching out to us as the community, wanting us to help them build some of these solutions that they have identified. I think that the beauty of our community is that we want to be a platform that supports some of these ideas that come from the population. People who feel that they have an application that can actually do something, can create value, can move people out of poverty. They come to us, and we see how best we can support that. And the first level of us achieving that is through education. You see, when we have competent developers, some of these applications will be developed and they'll move. After you have the skills to develop, the next thing you need is just a business acumen. And I think there's a lot of experience and a lot of nice books on that. So we might not fail on that as well. I'll let the guys chip in on that.
I think for Kenya in the past, we've had a lot of people who are unbanked. And I think blockchain offers a ripe solution for providing banking services to those who are unbanked. And I think once you open people to means of funding projects that they have, even if it means, for example, a small market or a kiosk, or even a big DApp developer who probably wants to scale his project or needs more team members within his project, then blockchain becomes a possible solution to allow not only for fundraising of for projects, but also to allow those an ecosystem for those projects to exist. So I think once that, like that, just that layer of opening fintech to people who previously might not have had access to finances for their projects creates a whole it's like watering soil to allow plants to grow. Yeah. And I think so for me, because my blockchain concentration has mostly been in the renewable energy sector, I believe that fintech combined with physical renewable energy, that means electricity, allows for penetration of technology to places which have not had that technology in the first place. So that means you are allowing distributed generation, you're allowing people to have transactions between themselves for peer-to-peer energy transactions. And then out of that, you're allowing people to have energy inside of their homes, which allows them to have access to the internet and to electricity as well. So that for me is one of the biggest impacts that I have seen I have seen, and I know the blockchain space will support.
Just to add on that, I'll say that in Kenya we have faced issues such as land issues. Like there is a lot of corruption. You find that a piece of land is sold maybe to 10 people at the same time, and everyone has a title deed claiming the same land. So such things, if that data can be put in a blockchain, I think we will solve that problem. We have other issues like nurses and doctors not being paid. So they have been striking like throughout the year. So I think it's because, again, how the government handles money. I think that can resolve that. Same issue with lecturers. Our public universities, we have had lecturers not been teaching for a while, and I think blockchain again can solve that problem. Also, we have a lot of debt in our country. I think 57% debt, and it's again because of corruption and how funds are managed. And I think blockchain can solve that problem. And also in the energy sector, we have had problems. People complaining about their energy tokens, prices of energy being fluctuated because of the local companies. So I think also, again, blockchain can solve such issues. And just to add on the education sector, I think it's not only developers you're focusing on, we're also trying to be a bit diverse. Like we had talks with Daniel on getting on board some lawyers. And the lawyers are really trying to understand blockchain technology. And since it's a transfer of value from one person to another, there needs to be something like a contract that can come in between and do that. So things like, I think, recurrent smart contracts can really be good, and can also incentivize lawyers to actually tell their clients to come into EOS because they will understand EOS and will prefer it above other blockchains. Yes.
Wow. This is so I have to say I'm really inspired right now, guys. I'm really enjoying this interview. I feel like this is why everyone here is getting into blockchain, and that's why we all believe in EOS, because it's one of the first that can hopefully make all this come true, as block.one talks about delivering on the promises of blockchain, right? So this is I'm really fascinated with you guys. I think this is wonderful, and I'm starting to understand why Ian made a special trip down to Nairobi, and I'm very happy he did. I mean, a lot of folks know that block producers need to be scattered all around the world, and we definitely need a strong candidate from Africa. So, thank you guys for stepping up. This is I'm just really excited. So where can we learn more about you guys? Where can people go to follow you and keep up with your work? What should people know?
So we have a Telegram channel. That's EOS Nairobi. I think at the end of the video, we'll probably share all the links with you so that you can post them for everyone to see. We also have a Twitter handle that's at EOS Nairobi. It's really active. We engage with a lot of other BPs around the world, trying just to create the synergy around EOS and trying to build a global community with them. In as much as our jurisdictions are quite different. I think beyond that, we'll also be opening other social media accounts as time goes on. There's a Steemit account that will be having all these articles that will be talking about the things we are doing here at Nairobi, our education program. We'll also be sharing our curriculum out there with the people so that they can have a step-by-step guide of how we do things here and how they can learn for themselves on their site. We'll also be posting some things on the Steemit on how some of these smart contracts we are going to do are going to be handled, or rather some sample code we are going to do that there. There's also a GitHub account coming up. We are planning something quite interesting on GitHub. So there's a web development framework that we've been working on. It's called Jabali. We want to open source it so that it's easy for people to build front-end applications that leverage the EOS blockchain without having to really struggle and spend a lot of time building it up, so that we can have very many beautiful interfaces that connect to the blockchain. And the regular average users wouldn't know it's even connected to the blockchain, but they'd use it just the same way they'd use a regular app. So Jabali is coming up. We'll be reaching out to the developer community to help us build it out further because it will be open source. That will be our community benefit project as we go along, alongside something else that the research team is working on, just to help put into perspective all the different projects being done on the EOS platform. So some of these things will be on our website. That's at eosnairobi.io. We'll have all these links there so that guys who are really interested in participating can join us and help out in the work we're doing here.
That's awesome. Wow.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. I don't know about you, Jenny, but I'm feeling good.
Yeah.
I'm loving this. Thank you guys very much for coming on. Yeah, it's wonderful meeting you guys. And, I can't wait to do like an international summit somewhere and shake your guys' hand and just say thank you for doing all the work that you're doing down there. It's wow. So thanks again, guys.
Speaking of an international summit, now that you've mentioned it, we are inviting the EOS community to bring the November hackathon to Nairobi. From the EOS hackathon website, they have a location for the first hackathon. Then there's London, then there's Australia. But in November, it's supposed to be announced. We want to invite the community to come here in Nairobi. I think there's space. There's other very interested and very enthusiastic developers here who are ready to meet and interact and build things that will go out into the world and build them with people out there in different parts of the world. So I think we're really excited. We hope that block.one is watching this and they'll consider Nairobi as one of the places where this hackathon will be happening. That's the live in-person hackathon. We hope that November is going to be Nairobi for that.
That sounds great to me. Let's, it's the power of the community. Let's all band together. Anyone who's watching, really, let's just go ahead and everybody ask. I mean, I agree completely. It'd be amazing to have a hackathon down there and for everybody to come out and meet you guys. So that's a great idea. I love it. Let's all band together and see if we can make it happen and talk to block.one. So, wow. Thank you, guys. Yeah. So thanks for coming on. And Jenny, do you have any other questions that we've missed?
I don't. Is there any last little tidbits you guys want to give us? You're like, I've talked a lot.
If the guys have anything.
I think I'll say the EOS community has been really helpful, especially in the Telegram. EOS developers, they reply very quickly. And also the testnets, there are several testnets out there which also help other people who are trying to come up with their own testnets and build them up. And Yeah, and also add on, I think block.one videos are really inspiring us to at least do something on blockchain. And I also add on that in Nairobi, the government at least has been a bit receptive on blockchain technology. There was a task force built by the government headed by former CS Bitang and Demo, and they have really been keen on blockchain technology. Actually, one of the guys actually invited me to do talks on EOS and educate people, do practical, because also for a while people are interested in the trading parts where you buy and sell to make money. Yeah, I think that's what I'll say. Yeah.
Well, this was a pleasure. I loved being able to sit down and talk with you guys, hear all about how life-changing this is to the country you guys are in, and I did also like seeing the real-life applications of the artists. I've seen a lot of digital art going around, but the fact that it was really brought into some jewelry, I mean, I thought that is fabulous. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, guys. Yeah, great to see you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.